It's 5:30 a.m. on a cold, quiet morning at Knapp's Narrows, a tiny inlet at Tillman's Island in the Chesapeake Bay. The only souls awake besides the seagulls are the captains and crews of the skipjacks, the ancient but dependable oystering vessels that have worked the East Coast for almost 100 years.
You can take the bow line right in.
Among the captains of these vessels is Ed Farley, a young, transplanted New Englander who has piloted his 70-year-old skipjack, the Stanley Norman, for 4 years.
I was living on a boat which had sailed down from New England, and a couple of skipjacks came into the port where I was staying, and I went out on one for a day, and that turned into the rest of the season, and that turned into 4 seasons, and then I decided it was time to either get in or get out, so I bought this boat and went to work about 4 years ago.
The Stanley Norman is no ordinary commercial fishing boat. When most every other fishing vessel relies on an engine to make its catch, the skipjack, when harvesting oysters, must rely on the graceful but not so predictable power of the wind.
She was originally built in 1902 for a man named Ari Shores in Deal Island. And he named it Stanley Norman after his twin sons. She's dredged every year, as far as I know, since she was built.
Easterners always had a passion for those delicious hard-shelled creatures, even when it meant pulling them up by hand. The skipjack was developed in the 1890s when the round, graceful bug-eye, a popular sailing vessel of the day, was modified to dredge for oysters. These vessels are no showboats. Work on these boats was very tough, and it hasn't changed.
Go! Gordon, clear the jib. I try to determine the edge of the oyster bar, sometimes with my depth recorder, which you can see the bottom rise up out of the channel up onto on an edge, and try to stay up on that part. And when I yell go, they throw the dredge. They have to do it in such a way that the chain bag doesn't get tangled up in the teeth of the dredge. If that happens, you pull the dredge bag to pieces to start with, and also you don't catch any oysters. So when the dredge gets on the bottom going at the right speed, the dredge digging in the bottom sets up a vibration, and they can tell whether you're in soft mud bottom or sand or stones, and more importantly, you can pretty much tell when you feel oysters, because there's a specific feel to that cable. How's that one? I started dredging in 1972, I think it was, with Art Daniels from Deal Island. And first day I went out, I was asked in the morning if I wanted some breakfast. I said, no thanks, I don't eat breakfast. By lunchtime, I was ready for a meal. It was really hard work. It was about, I guess it was 20 degrees out and snowing. And it was really miserable, but I was young and foolish and enjoyed every minute of it. They say I got some oyster mud under my fingernails and I can't get it out. That's why I'm still doing it.
The skipjack fleet is slowly decreasing as boats crumble and men seek an easier living. There are now only 29 vessels left in the waters of Maryland. The skippers and crews of this part of the Chesapeake know each other like backyard neighbors.
Some of the other fellows are in it purely for the money. If there wasn't good money at it, they wouldn't be doing it. But as long as I can make a decent living working under sail, I'll be doing it because I really do enjoy that.
Ed and his crew have the benefit of an engine 2 days a week. But to prevent overfishing, they are required by regulations to use their sails the rest of the week.
It's just a nice, clean, quiet sense of power, I guess. The fact that the wind, which is something that's there and free, is doing work. You're not putting anything into the system to make it do work for you. You're just holding up a sail and it's moving you along.
But soon the quiet ends, and because there's not enough wind to sail back to port, the sails come down and the rattle of the engine begins. When the oystermen depend on the winds to pull their dredges, they're not always sure how good business is going to be.
It's a lot of hard work, and there's good weather and bad, and you've got to go in both times. And some days there's no wind, some days there's too much wind, some days there's ice, some days you hit a lot of oysters, and some days you don't.
The oysters are loaded from the decks of the Stanley Norman to the market trucks. Today's catch is 17 bushels. Ed's limit is 150.
That's not many. It's been a slow day, not much wind. If we'd stayed out, we might have caught 40 bushels, 50 bushels if it breezed up again, but it's hard to tell. It's Friday, it's time to go home. We'll try again tomorrow with a better breeze, hopefully, and see what we can't do.
We'll be back in just a moment with our PM Magazine departments.